So this is the second video in the Apostle series, and today we're going to talk about Peter and kind of who Peter was before and after Jesus. So Peter was a fisherman, and he was the first apostle along with his brother Andrew that Jesus called. So Jesus called Peter when he went to start his ministry. So Peter was on the shore, and Jesus approached him and said, "Hey, put out the boat from shore so I can talk to the people," because the people were lined up on the shore. And so Peter did, and when Jesus was done speaking to the people on the shore, Jesus said, "Put out the boat farther." So Peter did, and Jesus replied to him, or said to him then, "Hey, drop your net." And Peter was like, "We've been fishing all night, but because you say so, I'll do it." And something to note there that's very, very interesting is that nets were expensive and hard to work with. So for you to be fishing all night and then just to throw it in with some stranger says so is really, really weird. So here we can actually see Peter's obedience to Christ. But when they brought up the net, there were so many fish that Peter had to call his brother, or not his brothers, but his partners to help him bring in the fish to shore. And it caused both the boats to sink, that there were so many fish. And when they got back to shore, Peter bowed down before Jesus and said, "Go away from me. I'm a sinner." And Jesus said to him, "I will make you fishers. If you come follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." So that's kind of like where Peter and Jesus kind of meet, and why Peter is an apostle of Jesus. So I want to go over a couple stories about Peter. So one time during Jesus' ministry, Jesus told his apostles to go ahead and go in front of him and go ahead of him. And as they were sailing on the boat that night, Jesus came walking up to them on the water to the boat, and they all thought it was a ghost. But Jesus replied, "Do not be afraid, it is me." And Peter said to Jesus said, "Do not be afraid, it is me." Peter said, if it is you, let me come out of the water." And Jesus said, "All right, come on out." He didn't actually say that, but, kind of like that. He's like, "Come on out." And as Peter was walking towards Jesus, he looked around, saw the storms and the waves, and he fell, and he lost faith that he could walk on the water with Jesus. So that's the first story. The second story is when Jesus asked his apostles, "Who do you say that I am?" Or who do people say that I am? And they replied, "Some say Elijah, some say a prophet." And then Jesus like, "Well, who do you say that I am?" And Peter's like, "We believe that you are the Messiah, the chosen one of God." And Jesus replied to Peter, This has been revealed to you by God." That's pretty much what Jesus says. So here we can see that Peter is kind of getting an understanding, but it's been revealed to him by God. So he's kind of having to rely on God's power to understand. Also, when Jesus told them that he was going to have to be crucified, Peter was like, No, you can't do that. But Jesus rebuked him and said, "Get behind me, Satan." So here we see Peter's impulsiveness, just kind of speak on whatever he's kind of thinking, which is kind of a problem with Peter, because when he stepped out on the boat, couldn't do it. And the final one is when Jesus said, "I'm going to be crucified." Peter said, "I'm going to follow you, even if it means death." And Jesus said to him, "You will deny me 3 times before the rooster crows twice." And of course, that's what happens. People come up during Jesus' trial, which really wasn't a trial. It was an unjust trial. But people are like, "Hey, Peter." They didn't say Peter, but, "Hey, this man was with Jesus." And Peter's like, "No." "Hey, this man was with Jesus." "No." "Hey, this man was with Jesus." "No." And the rooster crowed twice. So Peter did reject Jesus 3 times, like Jesus said what would happen. And then the fourth story, so the last story, is where in John chapter 21, Jesus reinstates Peter. So Jesus and Peter have a conversation, and Jesus asks Peter 3 times, "Do you love me?" The first 2 times he uses the word agape, which is the Greek word for godly love. And then the last time he uses phileo love. But the first 2 times when Jesus uses agape love, Peter replies, "I phileo you," or I friendly or brotherly love you. It's one of the two. I think it's phileo. Phileo is brotherly love, friendly love. It's one of the two. And so the third time Jesus asked do you phileo me? And Peter says, yes, I phileo you. And so Peter here realizes that he doesn't have the strength, he doesn't have the will. He knows that he is not strong enough to follow Jesus with an agape type of love. He knows that he can't do it. He realizes his inability to do things that Jesus calls him to do. But that's again why Jesus went away, or like was taken up into heaven, so the Spirit could come down and help us. So as you see, as Peter walks with Jesus, from being a fisherman, and a note about fishermen, they were a man's man. Like, they were tough and so to see Peter be very impulsive and kind of immature in what he says, to grow in that wisdom and understand where his inabilities lie, that he has to rely on God, is something that we can take away as Christians, where we have to rely on God and we have to walk with Jesus and realize that, oh no, I can't do that. I have to rely on God. I'm not able to do all this. We have to use the Holy Spirit. So kind of just seeing Peter grow in that wisdom and maturity where he can't do everything Jesus calls him to do, kind of reflects on us where we can't do everything Jesus calls us to do. So we have to rely on God himself. So thanks for watching. This was the Apostle Peter and what we can take away from him. The next video coming out will be over the Apostle Andrew that Andrew is going to do. So come back pretty soon and we'll have that video for you.